I'm Leah Arnold. I'm the Capital Campaign Coordinator for the Breckenridge Grand Vacations Community Center and New South Branch Library. And I'm delighted to be here today with Jerry Dzedzic, the President of the Breckenridge Heritage Alliance, and Brian Edney, the Chairman of the Summit County Library Foundation, to talk about this fabulous project that we're all cooking up together. So Brian, how did this whole thing get started?
Well, it started in a very much smaller way than it's morphed into. About 3 years ago, the county agreed to help fund a new library for Breckenridge, the South Branch. Mm-hmm. And we were going to build it on the piece of land almost adjacent to where they are now. Obviously, we had to raise money. The target for me then was $500,000. I went to the town of Breck almost 2 years ago to the day, made a presentation to the council and asked them for quite a substantial sum of money, $500,000 in fact. They didn't fall about laughing, but they said they'd consider it and come back. The next thing we knew was, would you like to join in with the county and the town and renovate the old CMC building, the old schoolhouse, and make a community centre, a new library, speakeasy theatre. Of course, that meant the fundraising went up. And so we went from $500,000 to $2 million. And that's when I asked for some help. And John Warner coerced Jerry to come in and help us. Well, he did.
He did.
So that's how it started.
That's a different story in itself, but I'm very proud to be part of this project. I think as all of us are. We've had a lot of fun together.
Yes. So once we had agreed among the county and the town, BHA and the foundation as to what we were going to raise, what the deal was, we set about fundraising. We went straight into the campaign, started approaching foundations, individuals, local businesses, and we'll talk about that more later on perhaps. But Jerry, maybe you'd like to talk about what's in the building. I mean, this is not just a library anymore.
No, in addition to the library, the South Branch Library will be the major tenant, as you know, but in addition to that, it's planned as a community center. So we're going to have meeting rooms, we're going to have nonprofit office space. Some of the offices will be devoted to the Summit Foundation. A space has been set aside for an archives for the Breckenridge Heritage Alliance. I believe that the Breckenridge Film Festival also will be housed in the building. It will also have the Speakeasy Theater, which has been a Breckenridge institution for, Leah, you can probably talk more about the Speakeasy.
I do believe, yes.
That's right.
Yeah, the Speakeasy's been around since 1998, and the same owner will be coming back into the new space, which will be updated and include a digital projection, which is pretty much the status quo for cinema these days. And they'll continue to show first-run films, and the space will also be available for library programs and things like that when it's not being used as a movie theater.
And you know, perhaps it's worth mentioning that this is really an architectural gem.
Right.
When you walk inside and see what the architects have planned for the building, all of the original wooden trusses, of course they've been reinforced to bring it up to modern standards, will be exposed in the main reading room of the library. There'll be windows that face out to the west that give this fabulous view of the 10-mile range. There's an outdoor reading deck that will be used in many more seasons of the year than perhaps you think, you know. So
maybe we could get the picture of the library on the tape here, whether we can zoom in.
All right. There's a coffee shop going in there too, I seem to recall. I think that was Mayor Warner's pet project.
Yes, that's the John Warner coffee shop.
We can't really all, here in Breckenridge, we all need our coffee to survive, so that'll be yet another thing that brings people to the building. I mean, my sense is that this is going to be a place where people want to be, where they want to come and spend time. The historic elements of the building are all being preserved by the architects and the engineers, while bringing it all up to a very modern standard in terms of making it more green, bringing in all kinds of natural daylight, insulating this old building, and it's sort of the epitome of reuse, reduce, recycle, repurposing this historic building to become a great new space that everybody will be able to use.
It is. I think it's a historic treasure, and the building talks to us in a number of different ways. And Brian, perhaps you can tell us a little bit about the library itself.
Yes, I'll talk a bit about what's going to go in there. First of all, it is a place where people come to read books. And we're looking at a Pew study just recently, which shows that 75% of all the patrons around the country go in to pick up a printed book, which is a bit surprising. Mm-hmm. However, the libraries are changing. So what we're doing here, we're providing first-class Wi-Fi, internet access. We're providing a lot of computers in there. We're providing e-readers, iPads, everything which will help the technology side of the library, because we realize we're going more and more digital. So we have a main library floor with book stacks, traditional book stacks. We have several computer stations, banks of computers dotted around. We have at least 2 dedicated study rooms. Now, we went to 6 or 7 different libraries around the state before we decided what we wanted. And study rooms were clearly an important part of this. In the existing library, there is absolutely nowhere to study. It's just so small and congested. So we have 2 study rooms. We wanted to make it attractive. Jerry mentioned the lovely view that through the west wall, the west windows. So we have a reading area, a raised reading area. Then we have a fireplace nook, which will be a cozy place in one corner. And the lady quilters of the county are going to very kindly donate a lovely quilt to go in there. We have dedicated space for teens, dedicated space for juniors, dedicated space for the children's library. And we've never been able to do this before. So we've got a really lively place. We want it to be a community place. People come in. Jerry mentioned the other day about the shush angle of old libraries. Well, we don't want it to be shush. We don't mind a bit of noise. Joyce Deerhow might not like that, but we'll overcome Joyce on that one. So the library is going to be a really first-class facility, lively, active, and one where people can come in, feel comfortable, sit down, read, pop down and get a coffee and all the rest of it.
Excellent. That's exciting stuff.
Yes, it is.
It's interesting because I've had a few people say to me, like, libraries, who even takes out books? And in point of fact, our library has seen a tremendous growth in usership since it was first built in 1996. There were 85,000 plus visits to the tiny little library on Airport Road just this past year. And we expect that this new facility is going to bring even more people. So the idea that people don't use libraries anymore is mistaken. We're just using them in different ways, I think.
Just to illustrate that a bit more, we've had a doubling in the last 10 years or so of visitors and takeouts. And on Wi-Fi use, which surprised me, I looked it up this morning, we've quadrupled the number of people using the computers and Wi-Fi.
Wow. From
9,000 to 30-odd thousand since 2009, which shows the way the library's going.
So what is that usership, how does that break down? I mean, I know there's been a huge growth, but
yes.
Do you have...
I got some stats this morning, and I apologize for looking at my crib sheet here. In 2009, we had 9,000 users of our Wi-Fi, internet access, computers and whatnot. Last year, it was 32,000. So that's a 4-fold increase in 5 years, which is amazing.
That is pretty
But that's
amazing.
pretty typical of a lot of other libraries around the county, I think, Jerry.
Oh, absolutely. We, not only the county, but in the state, we did some benchmarking with Telluride and Steamboat Springs. And Steamboat Springs, the newspaper there came out against expanding the library in 2005 when that question was being asked.
Yeah.
And they felt that a library with things going digital, it makes books and research obsolete. And as you point out, that's not the case at all.
No.
A year ago, only a year ago, they came out and retracted their statement and said it's the best thing that Steamboat has ever done. It's become a premier asset for the city.
Yeah.
And then I like to mention Telluride too. Telluride is another library that we benchmarked, and John Warner was down there and brought a bumper sticker back for us that says, came to ski and stayed for the library. And I think that says it all.
Perfect.
That's interesting, by the way. The librarians here say that they become travel agents in the winter season and in the summer season. People come in to download their tickets or inquire about restaurants or whatever. So we do more than just read books in the library.
Absolutely. I know it's definitely a place where a lot of locals go to use the computer to look for a job or look for an apartment or so on and so forth. So it really does help folks who can't or don't have their own computer equipment.
Interestingly, as you know, we have a fairly large Hispanic population in the county, and they are avid users of the libraries, particularly in the North Branch, as it happens. There's more Hispanics up there. And they use the computers, they use the rooms for study and all the rest of it. And Janet Good, the librarian there, acts almost like a mother for about 2 hours at the end of the day.
That's a really wonderful thing for us to be able to offer to the community. Well, don't touch that dial. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with some more information about how we're going about raising funds for this project. We've got some really interesting things and some opportunities for all members of the community to join in on. Welcome back. We're here talking about the capital campaign for the Breckenridge Grand Vacations Community Center and New South Branch Library. And we've been charged with raising $2 million for this community project, and we're doing pretty well so far. With our $2 million goal that we're handed, we've actually made quite a bit of progress to date.
Yes, I'm happy to report we've reached about 1.8 million, just over 1.8 million. And clearly, we've had some very large donors, and we've had a lot of individual donors. Donors such as the Breck Grand Vacation Lodge were very generous. We've had monies from foundations like Vail Resorts Echo, Summit Foundation, DOLA, Department of Local Affairs, gave us a lot of money. F Cubed, a private foundation in Breckenridge, were very generous. Local businesses have chipped in, and numerous individuals have contributed from a few dollars to many thousands of dollars so far.
One of the stories that I really like that speaks to how exciting this project is for people is the story of the Ralston family. They're a family with long-time ties in Breckenridge. They have relatives of the Judge Silverthorne, who needs hardly an introduction, and Agnes Ralston. Agnes Ralston married Charles Finding, who was a successful Breckenridge merchant, and who operated a store on Main Street at 120 South Main Street. The building still stands today. It's across the street from Modis. It houses Mountain Outfitters. And they came in and made a significant donation to the project, commemorating the original Ralston daughters, the Ralston and Silverthorne daughters, who had to go to Denver to complete their education because education wasn't available here. So the 1909 schoolhouse is what made higher education in Breckenridge possible, and the Ralston family wanted to commemorate that. I think it's fabulous having a name like that on our donor list.
Absolutely. And I would say that some of the individual fundraising efforts that we've had, particularly to reach out to the community members, have been really very successful. We created a founders circle with a minimum gift of $100, and that includes a little goodie kit that all is related to our new center, a book bag and concessions punch pass and a special library card and fun things, and people have really jumped on that opportunity, many of them giving more than the minimum that we asked for. And then on the speakeasy front, we've had a great and really fun project, which is that we are selling naming rights for each of the 160 seats in the new theater. And I would have to say I've probably personally spoken to everyone who's purchased a seat, and everyone gets to choose where they'd like their name plaque to be, and people really seem to be very much into supporting this community project and the ongoing downtown cinema that this new space will help provide.
I think, Leah, that at the last count, we've sold over 100 seats.
I think we're just at 100 seats, so we've got only 60 more
60 to go. Okay.
So yeah, it's filling up nicely.
Well,
which
there's
is
a
really
message
terrific
for our supporters.
Absolutely.
Well, the other thing that's exciting to me is that we've had donations large and small. We've had donations of $5, of $25, of $50, of $100, as Leah was just describing. And it tells me how excited people are getting about this project. They believe in it. They believe in our kids. They believe in helping give our kids a future. And it takes a village to raise a child. And Breck is a village like that. So this really appeals to the sense of community that we have in this town. It also appeals to the sense of community that we have all over the county with such an outpouring of support, such generosity as we've seen. It's been amazing. I never thought we would get this.
No.
And I believe we will.
Yes.
We will find ways to raise this remaining, the small amount that remains.
Yes, so
Well,
less
perhaps
than
we could actually
$200,000.
make a short appeal to our viewers and supporters
Absolutely.
to help us to raise the other, I think it's 185,000 approximately. And we've got still to the end of this year and just over to January of 2015 to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, like I said, there are still about 50 founders kits available. That is a limited group. So we encourage you to join, as well as looking into if you're interested in a movie theater seat. Those are $250, and we do still have 60 of those left. And information about how you can make purchase of either of those things or make a donation of any amount can be found on our website, which is www.bgvcenter.org. That's BGV as in Breckenridge Grand Vacations Center.org. Be sure to check out the press page. There are all kinds of interesting videos. You can see a tour of the construction as it is ongoing, and we will keep that updated as well so that you can follow along with the project.
Maybe you'd like to leave your telephone number as our capital
Absolutely.
coordinator par excellence.
I'm happy to talk to anyone who'd like to think of making a gift. You can reach me at 970-453-9767, extension 104.
Well, thank you, Leah, very much.
A pleasure. Thank you, gentlemen. It's been a fabulous thing working with you and with all of the wonderful and really committed members of the Capital Campaign Steering Committee, whether they're from the town, the county, the Heritage Alliance, the Library Foundation. Everyone has really jumped in and made a big difference in the success of this project.
Yeah, it's been a real community effort.
Well, we hope you'll join us and be one of those community members who's part of this terrific project. Once again, that's www.bgvcenter.org for all the information on how you can be a part of it. Thank you for helping us to preserve our past and build our future.